We're joining the brilliant mariner Nathaniel Bowditch on the deck of his ship as it returns to Salem, Massachusetts. But this is no triumphant homecoming. Not at all. It's a return to a life that's been completely shattered by tragedy. And for a man who can navigate the most treacherous waters on the entire planet, his whole world is about to be derailed by one single paralyzing question. As his ship cuts through the familiar waters of home, this is the thought that's just consuming Nat's mind. You know, he's not worried about hidden rocks or dangerous tides. His terror is completely human. He is about to face the family of his wife, Elizabeth, who died while he was away at sea, and he feels utterly, hopelessly lost. You have to understand, Nat is a master of his craft. His mind is like this finely tuned, precise instrument, able to calculate the absolute safest path through the most dangerous waters imaginable. But as he sails into Salem Harbor, that precision is just fractured. His focus is split right down the middle between the demands of his job and this overwhelming weight of grief. And here's where we can almost see his mind working on two totally separate tracks. One half is the seasoned navigator, right? He's automatically calling out the landmarks, making sure the ship is safe. It's pure instinct, muscle memory that's been honed over years and years at sea. And then there's the other half. While the sailor in him is navigating the physical world, the man, the grieving husband, is just lost in the sea of guilt. He is absolutely convinced that he won't be seen as a son-in-law, but as this painful walking reminder of everything they've lost. He's already planning his escape before he's even stepped one foot on shore. So Nat braces himself. He walks off that ship expecting to be rejected, cold shoulders, maybe even outright anger. But what he finds waiting for him on the docks of Salem, well, it's something he never, ever could have predicted. And this is where that chasm between his fear and the actual truth is just laid bare. He's been eaten up by this idea that they'll hate him, but the very first words he hears are words of welcome and warmth. The reality he steps into is one of compassion, not condemnation. The welcome he gets it's overwhelming in its kindness. Elizabeth's sister, Polly, she meets him right there at the wharf and gently, so gently, spares him the pain of having to ask how she died. His mother-in-law welcomes him home without a single hint of blame. Polly has even prepared his old room as a study because she knew he'd need a place to work, a place to lose himself. They meet his grief, not with anger, but with this profound, incredible understanding. But here's the thing. Despite all this kindness, that emptiness in Nat's heart, it's still there. Salem is trying to welcome him back. His professional life is reaching these incredible new heights, but none of it can touch the core of his sorrow. He feels like a ghost in his own life. So when his old friend Captain Prince just casually remarks on some poorly crewed ship nearby, Nat's response is immediate, and it's desperate. This isn't some ambitious sailor talking. No, this is a man who is desperate to escape his own mind, to just run from the constant reminders of what he's lost. And then, right in the middle of all this grief, something absolutely incredible happens. Nat is elected a Fellow of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. I mean, this is a massive honor. It's basically the 18th century equivalent of winning a Nobel Prize. It's the kind of recognition that should be the crowning achievement of his entire life. But it's Polly's simple, heartbreaking words that say everything. She knows that this great honor, this validation of his life's work, it feels completely meaningless to him. The one person he would have wanted to share it with is gone. The timing is it's tragic. So, if academic honors and the comfort of community can't heal him, Nat turns to the one thing that might offer a real escape. An opportunity comes up to return to the only other world he really knows, the structured, demanding, and dangerous life at sea. His old captain, Prince, comes to him with a very concrete offer. A long voyage on his old ship, the Estrella, all the way to Batavia, which is modern-day Jakarta, a notoriously difficult and disease-ridden port. To almost anyone else, this would sound like a terrible idea. But to Nat, it sounds like salvation. So the decision is made. After a really painful goodbye to the family that showed him so much kindness, Nat and Captain Prince head for Boston. Their mission is to get on their ship and pull together a new crew. But as they're about to find out, that is way easier said than done. Okay, so now we get to the part of the story where things get really interesting and where the title Strange Sailing Orders comes from. In Boston, they find their ship, the Estrella, completely deserted. The problems for this voyage are piling up before it's even really begun, and it's going to take a pretty drastic solution to fix it.
Right, so here's the problem they're facing. The ship's owners had already hired one crew, they gave them a full month's pay in advance, and, well, the second that money was in their pockets, the entire crew just vanished, jumped ship. So now Prince and Nat have to scour the waterfront boarding houses for replacements, and they have to settle for what the book calls the best of the lot, which, believe me, wasn't saying much.
Captain Prince, not about to be fooled twice, comes up with this wild, audacious plan. He gives this bizarre order to set sail immediately, right against the tide. Why? Well, it traps the new crew on the ship before they can even think about deserting. Then, he sails just far enough out into the harbor and drops anchor, well beyond swimming distance from the shore. With the whole crew trapped, Prince gets them all on deck. He lays out the situation and then ends with this cold, thinly veiled threat. He's not asking them to stay. He's telling them they have absolutely no choice. The trap has been sprung. Can you just imagine the looks on their faces? These guys had probably planned the exact same thing as the first crew. Sign on, take the money, and run. But now they're facing months at sea, a terrifying trip around the Cape of Good Hope, and a stop in Batavia where, as the book puts it, men died like flies. Their faces show nothing but raw, helpless, baffled rage. So, let's take stock of where we are. They're anchored just out of reach of land. Not Bowditch, a man running from his own grief, is now trapped on a ship with a ruthless captain and a dozen angry sailors who've basically been shanghaied against their will. This isn't just a voyage anymore. It's a powder keg just waiting for a spark. The only question is, what happens when it finally ignites?